The ANC Youth League has intensified its call for President Cyril Ramaphosa to declare youth unemployment a national disaster. The League's president, Collen Malatji, stated that millions of young South Africans are experiencing a Black Christmas characterized by hunger, poverty, and deepening economic exclusion. This follows the ANC Youth League's 27th National Congress held earlier this month, where the crisis was described as a catastrophe, more devastating than past health pandemics. ANC Youth League President Collen Malatji joins us now to unpack their call. A very good afternoon to you, Collen. Thanks very much for your time. Perhaps take us a step back to how you came to this particular resolution.
It is clear and visible to everyone that it can be normal that we're close to 60% of the population, which is youth, are dispositioned from being economically active. Now, those are areas that we need to speak about. We can't afford a situation where there is high level of unemployment and it's business as usual in South Africa. Those are areas that we need to fight for and declare a disaster. As much as we've declared gender-based violence a disaster in South Africa, we've called upon the president to declare the unemployment of youth a disaster, because they are really, from Monday to Monday, our township is a holiday. We can't just enjoy and be merry in Christmas when 60% of young people in South Africa don't even know when the next meal they're going to get. Their dignity has been taken away from them. They're not even respected in their own families because they're unable to even contribute in Christmas to celebrate. They're disrespected and undermined by everyone. Now, those are areas that we really have to look into. But it is a disaster. We've given solutions to the ANC. We've given solutions to the government that it can't be right that countries that have no raw and critical minerals are the biggest beneficiaries of our minerals. They address their industrialized policies and they create employment for their people when they have no minerals. While Africa, a continent highly blessed with all these minerals, who are a face of poverty and nothing happens to that. Africa must unite for that. We must close in our own minerals and make sure that those minerals benefit the people who they were given to. They don't benefit the people that have no minerals at all at the expense of our people. We still don't understand even today why we've deindustrialized, why our factories have closed. The factories as Malboro and Alexander have turned into nightclubs and churches and informal settlements, which they were supposed to utilize to create employment and economic activities for the youth. Now, the private sector is not doing anything. They're obsessed about maximization of profit. They care less about the South Africans. Now, when you declare disaster, we are forcing everyone to come on board. We can't have families like the Rubets and everyone else controlling everything in this country, maximizing profit at the expense of South Africa in this era of a disaster. Now, everyone else who says that they are South Africans, they must be able to put South Africa first and make sure that they minimize profit and create employment for the youth.
The situation you've described has been going on for a very long time. People have been writing about, talking about this ticking time bomb for a very long time. And the players you've just mentioned clearly don't have or don't think perhaps the way you are thinking. The question is, what needs to be done? Because we can't keep on lamenting, the lack of action, whinging and moaning about this situation while nothing is being done practically.
Look, the president must act on the capital. We can't have a situation whereby capital in South Africa behaves like a free-for-all, is not disciplined. We need capital to be disciplined. Big businesses must be disciplined to be South Africans and protect the interest of the country first. The issue of export quotas of raw materials, the president has announced on it. We need implementation now, because we believe that if we reindustrialize the economy, we'll create new opportunities and jobs for everyone, utilizing our critical minerals that we have here. But while we're still waiting for that, there is a lot of budget sitting in sitters, which is taken back to Treasury all the time. If it's not in corrupted hands, it's taken back to Treasury at the expense of the youth that must be reskilled to respond to economic demand of this country. Now, we're clear that we're going to be watchdogs. We're going to be a serious irritation. We're going to mobilize the youth every day in the streets of South Africa until these resolutions are implemented. We're saying to the president, the ministers and everyone else, capital, CEOs of sitters, boards, everyone who's not implementing, he must act on them. We are not going to go to 2026 elections with the state we're in now. The South Africans want to see President Ramaphosa acting. They don't want to hear speeches anymore. They want to see him firing people, arresting people, acting on corruption. That is part of the renewal project of the ANC, because part of what it takes away from the youth of this country is corrupt behaviors of people who are supposed to take the resources to resolve our socio-economic problems. They're eating into their families and friends. You can see the lottery was one of their problems. You saw many of those issues. We hear every day that there's corruption in sitters is not implemented. We hear every day that big entities are not declaring fully what they get from SARS and everywhere else. They are not creating enough jobs of this country. They're deliberately sabotaging South Africa and its economy. We hear every day that big buildings in towns are hijacked by foreigners and illegal foreigners. Now, I was saying that if those things don't happen, the youth will take their law into their own hands. If you don't act, you're not going to be able to control it. What a disaster. They're on the streets every day on drugs. They are hopeless because they believe their own government must rob them. And as the Youth League, we're not going to be on the sidelines and watch that. We're going to be in the forefront of fighting for them. If it means that we're fighting with everything we have, we clean this country ourselves, we'll do that, because every time there's a crisis in this country, the youth of the ANC is called upon to resolve that problem.
But, I mean, you are in a fortunate position that many South Africans aren't in. You are able to sit around the table with the president and other decision makers behind closed doors, where you are perhaps, more able to actually drive these points you are raising home and actually get them to commit. In other words, it's not just about the streets or the ANC Youth League, or shouldn't be about the ANC Youth League taking to the streets, but engaging meaningfully with people who can actually do something about the issues that you are raising.
We've fought in boardrooms. We've gotten resolutions. We've won the NGC's resolutions. We've won the president's pronouncements in public. The battle now is for implementation. The reason you see us coming out is because we believe that there's a slow pace in implementation. What we want now is implementation, and the only way to do that is that when we're failed in the boardroom and people not implementing it, we must mobilize our constituencies so that they are part of our struggle with us. They see us not as a youth that is comfortable and relaxed in those corners, but as the leadership that is ready to mobilize them to any battle, like the generation of 1976, that whenever they were oppressed, they had to mobilize the youth to fight these battles moving forward. Now, we're reaching that stage, and we're giving the president and his ministers until end of January to act on those issues and resolve them. We want to see those things. Failure to, we have no choice but to run and mobilize the youth of this country in all corners, including closing all big businesses in this country are not responsive, to make sure that every stakeholder plays a role to resolve the disaster we're in. We're saying to the president, before end of January, he must declare unemployment of youth a disaster, or we'll have no choice to march to all corners of this country, including the union building, until the youth's dignity is restored.
Collen Malatji, ANC Youth League President, thank you very much for your time.